Hi, my name's Mark Hanson. Welcome to the Property Channel. And on today's channel, I've got a couple of people on. I've got Rodolphe and I've got Peter, and they're business partners in Milton Keynes. But more about that later. What I'll do is, in fact, there's no long introductions. There's no blooming long stories. I'll let them do the talking on the video, and then you can see how it turns out. So welcome this morning to Rodolphe. Tell us who you are and where you're from.
Hi, good morning, Mark. Thank you for taking the time today. My name is Rodolphe. I'm from France, and I now live in Milton Keynes, Buckinghamshire.
Hang on, take a step back. You're from France. Whereabouts in France?
So I'm from Normandy, and I'm on the seaside. So I'm from a town called Le Havre. And if you ever travel from Portsmouth via ferry, there is a great chance that you ended up in Le Havre.
So I used to do that trip back when I was a young soldier. I used to drive across Germany in my little yellow Mini, through Holland, through Belgium, all the way through France. Get on the. I mean, I've been to Le Havre about must be 20 times, and I must admit I've never stopped. Well, apart from the ferry port, got on the ferry and zoomed across and stuff. But so we call it Le Havre, which is, and that leads me on to. Lots of English people call you, and me included, I must admit I'm guilty of this as well. Lots of people call you Rudolph, but it's actually Rodolphe, isn't it?
Yes, yes, that's correct. Rodolphe, who is sounds absolutely fine in France. It's somehow very difficult in England to say the Rodolphe, and then lots of people make the association with the reindeer, Rudolph the reindeer. So when I introduce myself as Rodolphe, lots of people don't get it, and I'm like, well, Rudolph, Randolph. So I just go with it. I just go like, yeah, Rudolph, like the reindeer, that's absolutely fine. And the funny story is when I set up an email address, I also set up the send back. And in the send back, I do set up the Rudolph email address to be sent to the Rodolph email address because it's just a mistake that happens all the time.
I totally get it, and it took me about 6 months to start calling you Rodolphe, not Rudolph. It's really, it's a brain thing. I don't know why it is, but anyway. By the way, so what does your business do? What do you do in property? I mean, you're in property, you're on a property channel. What does your business do?
So we trade in Milton Keynes. We're looking for our core activities, looking for what people call flip or burr. So it's basically take a property that has fallen behind with maintenance or as aged through the time, and we bring it back to modern standard. And when you get the price of the property in poor condition to the top condition, we make our profit here in that gap. So that's what we do.
Brilliant. And we'll introduce Peter in a second because you teamed up with Peter, your business partner. And how did that come about? What was the story behind that?
So I met Peter through the mentorship with you, Mark. And I think we complete skills. So as an individual, I like to get on the ground, get my hands dirty. I like to do the job. And I think I failed, and in the past I failed to do the whole more administrative side that I call the boring side. But actually, it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit my personality. So we met through the mentorship where Peter is also a Milton Keynes investor, but he completed that side where he enjoys more the administrative side. And I do what he thinks is the boring side, going on viewings and going on the ground.
Brilliant. So it's a brilliant example of opposites attract almost, which is perfect for partnerships in business. So let's introduce Peter. So Peter, who are you and where you're from?
Well, good morning, Mark. I'm Peter, yeah, and I'm from Milton Keynes. I've been living in Milton Keynes since sort of 1980, so I know it pretty well. And that was an attraction with Rudolph as well. I'm originally not from Milton Keynes. My family was from elsewhere, but I've been there a long time. And I'm really a sort of tour operator, dealing with sort of international holidays, which are not doing too well at the moment. So I had a sort of second line, which was property. Before the 2008 crash, I was flipping properties with another partner. and we were doing okay. But after the 2008 crash, you needed to put in a lot more of your own money. Sort of 20% went up to 40%, and we kind of stopped and held the properties that we had. And my sort of, because I've flipped quite a lot of properties in the past, I wish I'd actually kept more of them, and that's my sort of long-term goal. But at the same time, I need cash flow as well. So it's good to work with Rodolphe, because he sees things that I don't see, and vice versa. And two brains are always better than one. And so far, it's working quite well. We haven't fallen out. We're actually moving things forward in a way we probably neither of us could do individually.
Brilliant. And you two have got a contract together where you kind of define your roles and how you work in the business, because the business is a separate entity, of course. And then you've got I call it in contracts a polite exit, which is actually a divorce in business terms. So Rodolphe, tell me about the bungalows. You're just in the middle of a deal. We know it's not completed yet. We haven't got the deal yet, but tell us about the journey of that. What's the bungalow in Milton Keynes? Tell us about that.
Yes. So this property is a property that has been built a while back and fell into that typical scenario where the person who lived in the house has let the property fall behind with modern standard. So that property has the potential to be brought back to modern standard, maybe a bit of lack of maintenance in some areas. And so this property is on the market. So there is an asking price. So, sorry, first of all, the person who lived in the property is gone into care home, and the sale of the property will pay for the care. So the property needs lots of work. And in here, we're offering the seller to do an assisted sale. So it's basically, we are taking control of the property. We're doing a key undertaking. We're doing the work to bring the property to full value, a modern standard full value. And they are getting the asking price they want, and we are making the difference here, which is an advantage for the seller, because if we had to go hard purchase, we would have to bring the price down significantly. And I think there is about we calculated £30,000 between the cost of purchase and borrowing money. So it's £30,000 that can pay for care. So the seller here is interested in keeping that £30,000 for care and giving us the keys for us to bring the property to full value.
Wow, that's well creative. So if I'm getting this right, instead of one price for purchasing the property, which includes stamp and legals and all that sort of stuff, and then we've got another price which is higher if we do a key undertaking and then do the work and then pass it on, and the agent gets their money as well. So everyone's involved in the deal, and I hope you get it. I know we haven't got it yet, but I hope you do get it. So Peter, you've had a chat was it this morning or yesterday to the agent. And what's the story so far then? Where are we so far?
Yes, Mark, that's right. Yeah, I've called the agent a couple of times and established that the vendor is pretty much happy with the deal, but he seems to be a bit nervous about the timeline. What he doesn't want, if I understand it correctly, is that he's actually okay to give us the key and let us do the work, which is often the major stumbling block. Some people have got a fundamental objection to that. I think what the problem is that he doesn't want a situation where we do the work, it takes us 2-3 months to do the work, and then it takes us another 6 months, 12 months, a year to sell the property. So he wants to know that once we've done the work, he's going to get his money. So my sort of take on the situation is we just need to provide him with that reassurance that we're not going to get into that situation, and once we've done the work, there's going to be a pretty quick exit, which we're confident of anyway, because the location of this property, they don't come up very often, they don't sell that often, and when they do, they're going to get snapped up, because I know as a fact that the estate agents have got waiting lists of people looking for bungalows in this kind of situation. So really, I see it as just a reassurance thing, and hopefully we'll get the deal in the bag. But you've got to go through the steps one by one.
No, it's fantastic too as well. So And this could, in your business in Milton Keynes, because we're selling a prime product here, because it's, you know, the market's pretty hot at the moment, and you've got quite a prime product as in this particular property. And because they've gone into care and it's a bit run down and it doesn't look quite so good as it should do, what you'd be doing is be giving back an agent with a decent property to sell it, you know, one that can go in the front window, because presumably this wasn't in the window because it's a bit scruffy. And you're giving them a prime product to sell as well. So it's a really good business. So how long have you guys been together in a business then? I mean, how did it start? How did you evolve? What's the story behind it? That's the Rodolphe. What's the basis of the business?
So we probably started to talk about getting the joint venture together with Peter. I would say probably a month and a half ago, 2 months to no, a month and a half ago. I think we kind of gave the idea 2 months ago, seriously talk about it. And then we went through, to make sure we're compatible, we went through a wealth dynamic test to make sure our personality match. And yes, that the personality tests do show that, you know, I have strengths, Peter has strengths, and they are complementary. And then from there, we draft an agreement that we both signed and agreed on forming joint venture. So listing basically where the responsibility falls, who does what, and as you mentioned it earlier, we is also agreeing on splitting the business later if we need to, and how we would do this.
Brilliant. So you're both in Milton Keynes. You're both doing deals in Milton Keynes. Presumably, you're doing buy and hold, buy, refurb and sell, control and sell, BMV property. Should you come across some in Milton Keynes, I know you've got a prime product there. So you're doing investor products. So how do first question is, who is your typical investor? Who are they? Are they newbies? Have they just come off a course, or are they more experienced investors, or are they you know, very mature investors, or who are your kind of typical customers, or who are they going to be? Oh, sorry, that's to Rodolphe. Sorry.
Yeah. In terms of investors, we work with the whole range of investors. So we do have we do know investors who have been in the game for a long time, who probably don't have the time to source properties, or didn't come across what we come across, or did anyway. So we have investors who will take on full-on big projects because they have the experience and you know, they have the experience, they have the confidence to go ahead. But we also have some people who are interested in buy-to-lets or flip, and they are probably to their first buy-to-let or first flip or second or third, and they also, you know, they are also full-time working. They may not have the full team to work with them, so we can also help them to provide this, the working team, because we do know contractors. We don't know many, but we know the good one, and then we can help them to take this project ahead. So we do service the full array of investors. We also work, and I mainly work with passive investors, or called armchair investors, people who don't want to get their hand dirty, who are not interested. They have some money and they want that money to work hard rather than sitting on a bank account. And then those people will lend us short to long term the money. So they act as a lender. So they can lend on the refurb, lend us the money, and we agree a term and a loan rate. Or they can also, some investors also lend for a few years and just wants the dividends, you know, monthly, yearly. So again, in terms of investor, the people we work with are not necessarily in property. They can just be, you know, people who want their money to work harder and don't want to get their hand dirty. So we welcome both sides of investors.
Brilliant. So what I'll do for you guys, I'll put as an end screen, I'll put your contact details, you know, on an end screen so people can get in touch. And first of all, is it a phone call or an email, or is either? Is either all right? That's to Peter. Can I get in touch with you?
Yeah, email or phone call is fine, really, to be honest.
Right, brilliant, brilliant. So what I'll do then, I'll put an end screen on the video so people can get in touch. It'll be after this when we finish. By all means, pause it and then just type the email out, and you can get in touch with Rodolphe or Peter. Thanks for coming on the channel. You've been absolutely brilliant. That's a good 10-minute video, which is longer than I expected, and I presume longer than you did as well. But brilliant. Good luck with your business in Milton Keynes. You're selling a prime product. If investors want to get into work with you for either a return on their investment, a return on their money, or want to get involved with a deal with you, then by all means get in touch. All right, my name is Mark Ironson. Thanks for watching the channel, and another video maybe tomorrow.